proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape May County's community bank. Philly Marble and the Philly Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. Visit phillymarble.com. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. Call Jenkins for heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, plumbing, or drain cleaning service. 609-641-6440 or jenkinsplumbingandheating.com. The Nizam's authentic Indian cuisine. They are waiting to serve you. Dr. Lyle M. Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelylback.com. And J&M Elite Contractors Roofing and Siding. Check out their great reviews at jmelitecontractors.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got them, it's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hinnett.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hinnett.
Tuesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. A busy night in Philadelphia sports. Phillies back in action later this evening in St. Louis. Sixers with another big opportunity to get closer to locking in their playoff spot. And the Flyers are fighting for their postseason lives. We will get to all of that and more coming up here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Austin Krell, our Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com. He will join me coming up around 6:40 tonight as he will break down the latest on the Sixers. There's a chance DeAnthony Melton returns tonight. So we're going to ask Austin Krell, what does that mean for this team? Because, you know, there's a lot of questions to be had about the Sixers when it comes to just there's so many variables that go into DeAnthony Melton coming back, what that could mean for the lineup rotations, what that can mean for the starting lineup, the reserves, the whole 9 yards. So we got a lot to get to with Austin Krell coming up in less than 40 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. By the way, for the Flyers, you can hear the Flyers game tonight on our sister station, Rock 104.1, and on the Rock 104.1 mobile app. Sixers will be right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Tom McGinnis on the call. The Flyers have announced that Sean Couturier will be back in the lineup tonight. No Cam Atkinson, no Ronnie Attard on defense tonight. And it looks like Eric Johnson and Mark Stahl take their place. So the Flyers going a little extra veteran in the lineup tonight, a little less youth in the lineup. We'll see if that makes a difference for the orange and black. But I want to start with the Sixers news about DeAnthony Melton. I think the Anthony Melton news is absolutely massive because of the fact that I think that we don't appreciate enough how different the postseason is at times in the regular season. NBA postseason basketball is a real grind, okay? It is a time of year that really pushes people to the max. You don't want to be the team that gets left out in the cold in the postseason because you don't have enough depth out there to deal with what is going to be thrown at you. You are talking about a Sixers organization that frankly has gotten a little bit lucky in terms of what they have been able to get away with for the last several months, basically. They have gotten away with not having a high-level defensive player, whether it's coming off the bench or a guy in the starting lineup. Oubre has had his moments, but he's not a high-level defensive player. You look at somebody like, for example, Tyrese Maxey, not an elite defensive player. You look at Kyle Lowry. He's undersized compared to many wings in the league today. And Nicholas Batum is not going to be able to hang with the guy who stands between 6'3" and 6'6" on most nights. So you need somebody who is going to be able to look at some of these other teams' wing players and say, I know you can't stop Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I know you can't literally stop Jimmy Butler, but can you do a better job at slowing them down than somebody else will? And DeAnthony Melton is that kind of talent. And I think that for Melton, this is going to be a huge game if he does return. This organization desperately needs a guy like him out there. They desperately need a player of his caliber out there in order to offset one of the biggest problems they have. They don't have enough athletic size in the perimeter defensively. Melton is the closest thing this organization has to doing anything about that. And if they are able to get him ramped up for the postseason, this changes the dynamics of how this team rotates players. Because number one, Buddy Hield has proven that he is not a guy that you can rely on night in and night out. If he gets hot, you'll run him out there. If he doesn't get hot, you leave him on the bench. Right now, this team's best starting five is Maxey, Lowry, Oubre, Batum, and Embiid. And if that is your best grouping, then why on earth would you ever consider playing Buddy Hield ahead of DeAnthony Melton unless Buddy Hield is scorching it in the zone? Think about it. Basically, Buddy Hield only has one value at this point. He's a scorer. And if he's not giving you points in bunches, there is no reason for him to be out there. And with Tobias Harris back to play tonight, Nick Nurse already has to figure out how he's going to fit him into a rotation where realistically this team has looked so much better without him. Now, there is a little news coming down right now. The Sixers have said that Tobias Harris is going to play, no Kyle Lowry, and no Tyrese Maxey tonight. So, something to keep an eye on. Does Maxey not playing tonight open up more minutes for DeAnthony Melton? Maybe. And with no Lowry, are we going to see a lot more campaign tonight? Maybe this is how Buddy Hield gets some extra minutes in the regular season, because no Lowry, no Maxey means they're missing a microwave scorer on the perimeter. But when everybody's healthy and everybody is at the peak of their game, you want DeAnthony Melton coming off that bench. You want him on the court, maybe to start a third quarter, to slow down some of the teams with good perimeter players in this league. You know who's not slowing down? Donovan Mitchell. Kyle Lowry's not slowing him down. Tyrese Maxey's not slowing him down. Max can give you a good effort, but he's not slowing him down. No, the player who can slow down the guys that we are referring to is ultimately going to be DeAnthony Melton. So he could have a huge role in this moving forward. We'll check in on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. I mentioned the Flyers, and I thought it was very interesting that television-wise, NBC Sports Philadelphia is putting the Sixers and the Flyers on the two main channels, and they're relegating the Phillies to the app. Now, if you are an Xfinity customer, apparently you have the access to maybe get it through the Xfinity app. But if you're not an Xfinity customer, you basically got to find a way to get the app. Now, I'm looking on my television guide right now to see what exactly is on NBC 10 tonight that they couldn't play the Phillies. Apparently, I guess Lopez versus Lopez is so important that they couldn't get away with putting it on. The Weakest Link. Is that a new episode of The Weakest Link? Yeah. So apparently, NBC Nationals programming is more important than putting the Phillies on NBC 10 tonight, which is still a poor move because at the end of the day, NBC 10 is owned by Xfinity, who is the same company that owns NBC Sports, who's paying the Phillies money to air their games. And considering we live in a world where the same entity also owns the Flyers, well, you get what I'm saying. But they have deemed that the Flyers game tonight is important. And it is important for one reason. If the Flyers lose one more game, you could pretty much stick a fork in them. The Flyers have done the opposite of the Sixers. And they've done the opposite of the Phillies. Here's what I mean by that. Well, the Sixers have found ways to win. The Flyers have found ways to lose. Fedotov has honestly been underwhelming at times. And the Flyers are very fortunate to get a couple of points out of those two overtime losses to the Rangers and Islanders. If they don't beat Montreal tonight, they might as well just pack it up. Because I know in the most literal sense, they still have a mathematical chance to make the postseason. I know in the most literal sense, they could still make the playoffs. Look, they are at 83 points. They are 2 points behind the Islanders. They're 1 point behind the Red Wings and the Penguins. So they're not mathematically out of it. But it's the idea that Montreal is a team that is 29, 36, and 12 this year. Montreal is a team with a minus 55 goal differential on the year. You already lost to them earlier this year in a game where the Flyers defense looked poor, to say the least. And considering you haven't won a game since March 23rd, if you can't win the second time around with Montreal tonight, I think NBC Sports Philadelphia needs to stop putting them on the main channel. Let's say the least, all right? Because this team is no longer deserving of being watched. I don't care about any of this malarkey when it comes to, I'm just so sick and tired of hearing about guys having a bad day at the office, guys being in a slump, guys being tired. At some point, as I was talking about yesterday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Eddick hanging out with you on a Tuesday night, the average person goes through so much in their daily life. There are so many of you listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN. You're barely meeting ends meet. You're doing whatever it takes to pay your bills. Maybe you're working 2-3 jobs. Maybe you're putting in all kinds of extra hours to get things done. Maybe you're the kind of person who is in grotesque amounts of debt and you're having trouble paying your bills and you're having to go to that extra side gig, extra job just to cover the bills or meet ends meet. You don't want to hear that the Flyers are tired, that they are out of steam, they're out of fuel, because you're not allowed to be out of steam and out of fuel, but why are they allowed to be out of steam and out of fuel? I don't understand this mentality where we can't have it both ways, guys. We can't have a level of empathy and compassion for people when they are having a bad day at the office. I get it. One game, one bad game. It happens to everyone. But you haven't won a game since March 23rd. That's not a bad day. That's not a bad week. That's not a bad anything. That's a poor performance. And when you lose to a bad team like Columbus 6-2 on Saturday, putting Sean Couturier and Mark Stahl and Eric Johnson back on the ice in the lineup, 3 veterans who have been around the league for a long time, if that doesn't change your fortunes, then nothing will. The Flyers have one more shot to give us hope tonight. And if they don't, then I don't want to see another Flyers game on television the rest of the year. Yes, if they're on television, I'll still watch because I still care about how the team finishes the season. But if you're to tell me that you ran out of steam, or you're having trouble focusing, or you're gassed, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody is going to sympathize with that. Because the average person out there, they run out of steam, they run out of gas every day, every week, trying to pay their bills. I think that we have gotten to a point where we have gone from one extreme to another with pro athletes. We've gone from the one extreme of we treated pro athletes like commodities and property, right? Before the world of free agency and before players had rights under a collective bargaining agreement, they were commodities. They were assets. They were property. We've gone from that extreme to these poor players, you don't understand what they go through. We got to find a middle ground here, folks. And the Flyers are a perfect example of how people are running out of patience. And they're running out of empathy. And they're running out of understanding when it comes to this situation. And considering the fact that the Phillies found a way to win a game last night, and the Phillies play every single day, almost the entire season, guess what? The Flyers had multiple days off between their Saturday game and tonight. They had multiple days off between last Monday's game and last Friday's game. It's all about put up or shut up time, folks. If you want it bad enough, you will make it happen. Again, Sixers on the radio today on 97.3 ESPN FM at 7 p.m. Flyers on sister station Rock 104.1 and the Rock 104.1 mobile app. Austin Krell, our Sixers insider, join me coming up in 20 minutes from now. Back to your text messages on the other side, 609-403-0973, and your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Wake up weekday mornings with Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Adam Schefter. He joins us each and every week.
I had somebody yesterday text me, Mike Trout, hey, could the Eagles trade for Micah Parsons? Mike, go back to playing basketball. No, that's not happening. Come on, let's stop that. But the Cowboys are not trading Micah Parsons. Come on.
Did you say that Mike Trout texted you that?
Every day, football play.
Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman on 97.3 ESPN.
It's buyback March at Matt Blatt Nissan. So bring any trade because AJ the Trade Man wants to buy your vehicle today. AJ pays $500 more than CarMax, so you get more dough for your ride. Brand new Sentra for just $199 per month lease with 0 security deposit. And only Matt Blatt Nissan has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Or drive home with 0 down and 0 interest for 72 months. Plus, current Nissan owners get $1,000 owner loyalty cash back on every clearly marked new Nissan in stock. Have a job clearing $450 per week? We want to approve you today. And AJ wants your trade, but only at Matt Blatt Nissan.com. Where qualifications exist with approved credits. $1,389 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details or call 844-917-4758. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Sentra VIN RY 2011059. Lease selling price $24,579. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Harbor Township.
I'm a waitress, so I know the difference between regular shoes and Skechers slip-resistant work shoes. Skechers slip-resistant work shoes make my job go like this. Here's your pasta primavera.
Thanks.
While regular shoes make my job go like this. Here's your pasta prima. Whoa! And that difference is why I wear Skechers slip-resistant work shoes to keep me safe on my feet. Plus, they're easy to clean and have Skechers exclusive air-cooled memory foam for comfort throughout my shift. Get America's #1 selling work shoe at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever work shoes are sold.
Attention landowners. Got big plans for your land? Tackle all your spring projects with a powerful John Deere machine. And now with 0% APR for 72 months on select compact tractors, riding lawnmowers, and Gator utility vehicles, plus up to $2,000 off select compact tractors. It's never been easier to get in the seat. Offer available April 1st through 30th. Visit johndeere.com to find your local dealer. For complete finance details, please call toll-free 1-800-226-8903.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote 1-800-670-5151. That's 1-800-670-5151. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-670-5151. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey, Mike Gill here. Upgrade your outdoor look for summer with my friends at Progressive Fence and Railing. Whether it's a durable fence, glass, or cable railing, new shed, stylish deck, beautiful awning, or serene gazebo, check out Progressive's Spring Special. 20% off materials and a 4-year warranty extension, plus finance options that fit your budget. Privacy protection perfection. Grab your free estimate today. Visit ProgressiveFenceandRail.com.
ProgressiveFenceandRail.com. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Check back at the text board in just a moment at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how George Summers I see your message. I do want to touch on the Phillies real quick because last night was an example of what we talked about yesterday, where if you come to the ballpark with the right approach, you will eventually break through. You got to give the Phillies credit for winning the game last night. Not just because they won in extra innings, but because you look at the guys who had the best games yesterday. It was Turner. It was Rojas. It was guys who have been struggling. I mean, Marsh has been inconsistent. He's been up and down throughout the year, so I'm not really pointing to him. But for Turner and for Rojas to have good games yesterday, I think that was a big deal for them. It showed that if you get to the plate with the right approach, you're going to eventually break through. Now, Schwarber had a horrible game yesterday. Harper, very underwhelming. And Castellanos still looks like garbage. But when you look at Rojas and Turner, these are two guys who are not big-time power hitters. They're not big-time sluggers, but they both had games where they got 3 hits and an RBI yesterday. And you think about how this team has been constructed. Bohm and Harper are supposed to be your 2 biggest RBI guys. But yesterday, other guys stepped up. And I think it's a big part of a baseball season. The reason why having the right approach is so important is because you don't want to be the team that is incapable of keeping up. You don't want to be the team that gets constantly overwhelmed because your best players couldn't get the job done. Yesterday was a perfect example of what this team can be if everyone does their job, right? If everyone goes out there and does what they are capable of. I thought it was very interesting to watch how the guys on the team saw what Turner and Rojas were doing, and they were so genuinely appreciative and positive toward them. Because, again, when your best RBI guys are supposed to be guys like Harper and Bohm and Schwarber, and yet you didn't get anything from those guys pretty much at all, except for Bohm yesterday, I think it's a big deal. And I think that, again, if these guys go to the plate with the right approach, more often than not, they're going to have games like yesterday. And while they might not win all those games, they are at least going to give you an opportunity to win those games. Of course, Phillies, 2 more games against the Cardinals before they return home against the Pirates this coming weekend. All right, back to the text board at 609-403-0973. Also, your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. George Summers Point chimes in, hey, Josh, based on what you said about needing a lot of stamina in the NBA playoffs, how far do you think the Sixers can go this year with the team the way it's currently constructed? George, I think that they can go far literally because of how they're constructed. It's not because of their starting lineup. I don't think the Sixers have the best starting lineup in the Eastern Conference. I think that if you're going to rank starting lineups, Boston, and Milwaukee both they both have better starting lineups than the Sixers, if you're being objective about it. What the Sixers have, though, is two factors that those two teams don't have. Sixers have Embiid, and neither one of those teams have a real answer for Embiid. And number two, the Sixers have depth, George Summers' point. I think that's really what the key is. Stamina, endurance, survival. You've got to have a deep roster of players to be able to make that happen. There is no way you are surviving in the NBA postseason if you are a top-heavy ball club. It's why I have zero faith in the Celtics right now in the postseason. It's why I have marginal faith in a team like the Milwaukee Bucks. Because if you don't have depth and you don't have an answer for Embiid, you're already got your back against the wall. And consider the fact the Sixers had a chance to beat Boston last year. Consider the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks have looked horrible for the most part since Doc Rivers became their head coach. The Sixers have just as good of a chance as anybody to go out there and have success and make a playoff run. Now, it comes down to health. And yes, it does come down to some stamina at Jordan Summers' point. But I think that for the Sixers, you are a team that is built to make a run. And if you have the bodies out there, look, Ricky Council has turned into a valuable contributor for this team. That is a guy that you didn't have in the past. So if you're the 76ers, look, you got to go out there and you got to make the best of this situation. And the easiest way to make the best of the situation is to just take it right to them. You just got to go right after every opponent you get, knowing that you got more bodies than they do. You got more guys who have fresh legs than they do. That's a huge part of this. Never overlook the team that has talent. Never overlook the team that is able to go out there and bring in the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th guys, and that guy be a contributor. Because I certainly will never do that. I saw a Dallas Mavericks team do that over a decade ago. I've seen other teams do this over the years. I've seen teams go out there and use their bench as a weapon. And if you're the 76ers, there is no better time than the present to use your bench as a weapon that other people cannot counteract. Joey D from Ventnor chimes in on the text board at 609-403-0973. He says, I agree 100% with your Flyers take. Get in the fight to make it and no excuses. You're right. It's the idea that, I know we're all in agreement, I'm just going to expound on it. It's the idea that you can't be a professional hockey team and be like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so burned out. Oh, I'm so worn out. I don't know how I'm going to finish this season. It's a poor excuse. It's a poor reason. You know, you never hear a college basketball athlete complain about, man, it's such a long year and I'm in the Final Four. If anybody could have had that excuse with the Sixers, but they didn't make that excuse. And right now, they're in a chance to get in out of the play-in tournament. And we get more of the Sixers coming out next. Austin Crowell, Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com. He will join us to talk more about the status of the team as they play tonight. Again, no Maxey tonight. Tobias Harris is back. How could that impact the rotations tonight? And Anthony Melton, what is his short and long-term prognosis? Austin Crowell will give us all the answers coming up next with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's Sixers Piston tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Kelly Oubre steals it. And a jam. Oubre stuffs it. The Sixers steal it. And Kelly Oubre has come alive.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
By popular demand, it's Matt Black Kias 2 for $222 all month long until they're gone. Get 2 new Kias for $222, but only while supplies last. Get a brand new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for just $111 per month lease with 0 security deposits and just $39.95 due at signing. With a price like that, why not get 2 for $222? That's a brand new Kia Forte for $111 per month, or drive home 2 for $222. Even get 0% APR for 48 months, or $7,500 cash back on any new 2024 Kia EV9. Plus, if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit, APR, or cash back on 2024 EV9. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. 24 months, $111 per month, 10,000 miles per year. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 5/4/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges on your tax debt daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you will owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima Tax have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-480-6932. That's 800-480-6932. 800-480-6932.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Life can be tough, and sometimes it's hard to find someone who will listen. But we want you to know there's always someone you can turn to, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is completely confidential and here for you 24/7 every day of the year. You don't have to struggle alone. Call 988 and let us help. We're here ready to listen because your life matters. Call or text 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org/chat. A message from New Jersey Human Services.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MATCH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MATCH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MATCH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Let's get the latest on the Sixers ahead of their tip-off tonight against the Detroit Pistons. Of course, you hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Tom McGinnis calling all the action. For 90 ESPN.com. Right now, Austin, welcome in. How you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How you doing?
Pretty good. So first, let's get to who's playing, who's not playing. No Maxey, no Lowry, but it seems like this is more of kind of like a maintenance deal, right?
Without knowing the depths or how drastic the injuries are, I would assume this is the Detroit Pistons you're playing, and this is a good opportunity to just get some rest. DeAnthony Melton is back tonight. Tobias Harris is back tonight. Starting lineup is Cam Payne, Kelly Oubre, Nico Batum, Tobias, and Joel Embiid, of course.
Now, before I get to Melton, I want to ask you about Harris, because the team has played very well in recent weeks without Tobias Harris. So what do you think him being inserted back into the lineup is going to look like tonight for this team?
So I don't think we can take really anything away from this game, because the Pistons have won 13 games all season long. It's like it isn't meaningful in terms of evaluating what this team looks like at a playoff level. I think you're just trying to make sure that you get out healthy. Joel looks like Joel. You get build up some more time with some of these core subunits within the lineups, even if it's players that we likely won't see in the playoffs. Like more reps with Tobias and Joel together, more reps with Joel and this person or that person together. Opportunities to do that. But big picture, it's just another regular season game. It's a game the Sixers need to win to keep pace with the 6th seed or have a chance at the 6th seed in the East.
DeAnthony Melton, what is a realistic expectation for him tonight and moving forward? Because I was saying before you came on, Austin, I think he could be a very important player for this team in the postseason.
So I think the thing with DeAnthony is, like, at least for the time being, he's probably going to be observed. His minutes will be monitored. They will be probably constantly checking in. How do you feel? How does the back feel? I'm not sure what he's capable of on the basketball court. They probably aren't sure either. They want to test that out and see how he is feeling, how he looks. There is a chance that he could certainly serve an important role in this team. I mean, the lineup data is not robust in terms of sample size because of how many injuries this team has dealt with all season long with different guys. But one of their most used core fours of Tyrese, DeAnthony, Tobias, Joel, that was the most productive lineup in the NBA this season. They're the most productive four-man group in the NBA this season. They outscored opponents by 33 points per 100 possessions and 467 possessions. So that's outstanding. That's nothing to joke about. And it makes sense. You have guys in there who can be really good help defenders, some good athletes in there. You're going to get out in the break. You're going to get stops. You're going to get some easy buckets because you're poking passes away and disrupting things. So there is a group in there that works, that can be gangbusters come playoff time.
When you think of that, who guys you can do well, one of those guys I'm curious to see what happens moving forward is some of the guys we saw contribute in the win on Sunday. Again, I know tonight is the Pistons. I know Sunday was the Spurs, but Austin, I really felt that what I saw from guys like Ricky Council and Nicholas Batum showed that these guys could potentially have maybe not a big role, but a role when the postseason comes around.
Yeah, so the thing with Ricky Council is he's still on a two-way contract. They have time left that they can negotiate with him to be converted to a standard NBA deal. If he is not, if he is not converted to a standard NBA deal in time, the playoffs, he cannot play for the team in the playoffs. So that's something that matters. Not that I'm sure he'd be penciled into minutes anyway, but like they have a bunch of different guys. Well, not a bunch, but they have a couple of different guys on this team who can put pressure on defenses to sort of rotate out of position and then have the wherewithal to make plays out of that. See Ricky Council on Sunday making 2 or 3 massive plays to secure the win for the Sixers in double overtime. The Spurs are not a very good team, but when Tyrese and the rest of the team was drawing dead on the second night of the back-to-back in double overtime, they won that game because Ricky Council had enough himself to help get him a couple stops, help get him a couple of buckets, and just manufacture those scores.
Austin Crowell joining us, our Sixers insider for 97.3 ESPN.com. Sixers and Pistons tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. At NBA Crowell on the Twitter X platform for all of Austin's coverage at 97.3 ESPN.com. Sixers right now, a game behind the Pacers. They are 1.5 games ahead of the Heat. Theoretically, Austin, they could win out the rest of this year. Tonight, Magic on Friday, the Nets on Sunday. If that is the case, what is your expectation of where they could land in the standings by the end of the season?
So they don't entirely control their destiny yet. What has to happen is Miami has to lose one more game to be a full game back of the Sixers. And right now, if the Sixers went out, if the Heat went out, the Pacers went out, the Sixers, I believe, my understanding of it is that they would fall to 8th because even though they tied the season series, Miami would have other tiebreakers elsewhere. They would all things equal, they would get the 7th seed. Indiana already won the season series against the Sixers. I think they have I'm not sure, but I think they have tiebreaker over Miami. So they all three could win out, and the Sixers would be the ones to lose positioning there. So they need some things to go well for them. The only thing they can control is they have to win out the rest of the way to give themselves the best chance. And Indiana has a pretty easy schedule for the next couple games. Miami plays Atlanta tonight. Terry Rozier is out, I believe, for Miami. So is Duncan Robinson. If the Miami Heat lose to Atlanta tonight, that could be a big break for the Sixers. But all they can do right now is you don't worry about teams that are around you, because it doesn't really matter what they do if you yourself don't take care of business.
Yeah, they're in Atlanta tonight or the Heat, and they come back home to play Dallas and Miami tomorrow. So not exactly the easiest.
Dallas is a full 2 games ahead and behind of the next closest seeds, so they might feel some motivation to rest guys. I don't know, but
maybe
they could say we don't have much mobility up or down. Let's just take the game off here.
Maybe, but the thing with Miami, like my point was, is that Miami's a team where they're not in an easy situation right now.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like they have any gimmies on their schedule. The Pacers are a weird situation because they play Cleveland. I think it's in Cleveland on Friday. So it's like, that game could determine a lot for both of those teams as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cleveland, by the way, is drifting in the standings. There's still a ton of mobility across the East, 2 through 6. And the Sixers, in theory, it would be it might not even be possible at this point, but they could finish with the same record as the 2 seed right now in the Eastern Conference. And I think the stretch without Joel probably hamstrings them with how much they can move up as a tiebreaker purposes. But there's still a lot of teams there that have to take care of business. And I said this to Mike yesterday, said this to you before. There is a lot of room left for them to find themselves in a really favorable matchup, whether that be Orlando, whether that be Cleveland faltering. Milwaukee is certainly faltering. The only thing the Sixers have to do, the best that they can is avoid a road playing game of, avoid I don't, if you're playing in the play-in, you're not going to be able to avoid Miami. You're going to play against them, but you can you can give your best shot at hosting that game, and anything is possible.
Austin, before I let you go, I did want to ask you, because the one quote unquote tough game left on the Sixers schedule is the Orlando Magic this Friday. Is that potentially a game where the Sixers and Nick Nurse view that as maybe like a dress rehearsal for the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about the play-in in general is that teams, the urgency with which teams are already functioning is there. Like, James Harden doesn't play much in the Clippers in crunch time for the Clippers in their win over the Cleveland Cavaliers this past weekend. For the Pelicans, Jonas Valanciunas is a starter, usually played 4 minutes in that game. None of that actually pertains to the Sixers, but just an example of, like, coaches are starting to get serious about how they are game planning these matchups, and they're because they know there's a lot to play for with the uncertainty of the play-in, with matchup wise and gaming that out. Orlando still has Orlando's one game back in Milwaukee, and they are tied record-wise with the Knicks for the 4 seed. So right now they are basically looking to, with each win or each loss, they are this much closer to avoiding a matchup with Boston second round, and that's critical. Like, Sixers fans are talking about, can we get to the 4? Can we get to the 5? Forget that. You want to be the 2, the 3, or the 6 or the 7 as much as possible. Good news for you is I don't think you're about 2 or the 3, because I don't think you can get that. I just don't think it's likely to get that high. But the 6 or the 7 are certainly in play, and those are, without having home court, of course, but those are very favorable matchups for the Sixers. Anything avoiding Boston is favorable.
Got to get through tonight before we can get to Friday. Austin Krell all over at 97.3 ESPN.com, at NBA Krell on the Twitter X platform. And join me right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Austin, great stuff. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh Hennick here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Tom McGinnis calling the action coming up at 7 p.m. tonight. A couple takeaways from what Austin was saying. He talked about how some of these teams around the NBA, mentioned James Harden with the Clippers, these teams are not playing everyone. A team like the Mavs might not play everyone tomorrow versus Miami. So, you can't look at the schedule as a literal, hey, this is a win, this is a loss right now, because a lot of these teams, they're doing what's best for them. They're not doing what's best for you. So you got to go out and take care of your business, as Austin said. That's a big part of this conversation. The other part of what he talked about was about the fact of, the value of getting guys back, like the Anthony Melton, is you're going to have more guys to work with in the postseason. That's a huge part of this conversation for the Sixers, because, as I said earlier, the differentiator between you and the top teams in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, you're deeper than those teams. You're more talented than the Magic. You're more talented than the Knicks, although the Knicks will probably put up a big fight for whoever they play in the postseason because of guys like Brunson and OG Anunoby and all those guys on the court. Cleveland Cavaliers, they've lost 3 straight and 7 of the last 10. They are falling like just a rock right now. It's ridiculous. And then you look at the Pacers. The Pacers are a good team, not a great team. And if you're Philadelphia, I think the best scenario for you is the 2 teams you want to avoid playing early in the postseason are the Pacers and the Celtics. I think the Pacers are still a difficult matchup for you because of who Siakam and Halliburton are. And then for the Celtics, let someone else beat up on them in the first round. The ideal scenario is if the Miami Heat play the Boston Celtics, because Miami is going to give them everything they can handle. They're going to wear them down. They're going to beat them up. They're going to make them think twice. And it's going to be a much more, a much easier task to try to take down Boston for everybody else. And Milwaukee, I don't understand how that team's even functional. Right? They've lost 4 straight, 7 of the last 10. That team is a disaster right now in the NBA standing. All right, you're the Sounder callers, number 6 and 7. It's time for you to shine. Call in at 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7, you are qualified for the Eagles Draft Party Contest, where if you win, you get to go to the Eagles versus the Ravens game this season, thanks to Phillies Sports Trips. But you can only win if you qualify. Callers number 6 and 7 at 609-573-3776, 609-573-3776. Callers 6 and 7. You are in for the Eagles Draft Party being held at Top Golf at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. I'm Josh Hennig. Sixers basketball next on 97.3 ESPN.
You have the choice. Whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique, those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Broadlee's, your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907 or visit broadlees.net. Manhattan Bagel. Looking for a quick snack or a full meal? Easy to use menu, customize how you'd like, place your order and sit back. ManhattanBagel.com has you covered. Start fresh, fast, order online for pickup and delivery. Clean Lines Painting. For a quality job, remember the name, CleanLinesPaint.com. And Kindle Auto Plaza, the area's best selection of Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Wagoneer. Off exit 10 on the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard. Call 609-465-5000 or KindleAutoplaza.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media South Jersey.